are struggling right now, but they are looking to turn it around on Ilios. And this is where we get our first taste of the adaptations both of these teams have made. No longer are we expecting Boston to be rolling out with Winston and Wrecking Ball, or Houston Outlaws to be playing Brig and Lucio. They must have learned, Brent. They must have.
You would hope. You would definitely hope.
Otherwise, I'm going to lose it.
Well, here we have it. The battle of Boston versus Houston. The one that everybody's been waiting for.
El Clasico.
El Clasico. And looks like Jerry's going to be opting for the sim. Probably not going to be sticking with it just so they can get a little bit faster rollout. Going to be using the teleporter. The Houston Outlaws. It's going to be Dante running the May.
That is interesting, but I like the change to put Blase on the Reaper.
Raucus also opting to play the Moira in itself. Now Jerry's going to be making a switch over to the Widowmaker, take advantage of those long sight angles. You can see the rotations being made by both these teams already. Just trying to take opposite positions.
Houston Outlaws have to play aggressively and avoid these Widowmaker sight lines. Their composition is all about getting very fast into the tank line and the back line of the Boston Uprising. But at the moment, they're worried about where Jerry is positioned.
You see, they were trying to scout him out a little bit here, but now forced to contest. The point is unlocked. And Jerry has free reign from behind right now. Dangerous situation for the Houston Outlaws. They've got nobody to contest this. They're shooting fish in a barrel, but the Houston take advantage. Using the speed boost, they play aggressively. It's exactly what their composition wanted to do, and they're going to get the opening kills to unlock this point.
Jerry had his opportunities there. It wasn't bad positioning from Boston whatsoever, but he didn't quite hit his shots, and Houston made total advantage of the entire way this comp is supposed to work. You're running at them, using the speed boost, get the Reaper in their face. And Blase has an easier time than when he was playing the McCree, and did not have the best showing on that hero.
Raucus very close to his coalescence. That's going to be a big win condition for them, 100%. He's going to wait to see if he can hit the go button. Now here we go. The Ice Wall gets brought down now by the Houston Outlaws, but you see the counteract there by Boston Uprising. Great Ice Wall to try and fend off a lot of the aggression. Boston going to disengage back, and now it's go time. They're going to see if they can try and get a pick off or two. Running into them. Flashbang getting no value from Jerry there.
This nano boost though from Yunbong could be absolutely huge. Decent Ice Wall, but hasn't quite caught Huma.
And now we're going to see the nano boost being used by Axiom, but again, kited back a little bit. Can't get much done when Dante is just spraying him down. Freeze, and it's going to be a free shatter for Muma. The pin onto Color Hex. Going to bring him down. Nice fade away with the fire strike. That's going to do it for the Houston Outlaws. They're going to take away that team fight. Beautifully done so far, not conceding anything to the Boston Uprising.
That's got to be a confidence booster as well for Houston. Like you said, Rand, they've been so unlucky recently in terms of their baggage just going missing when they were on their way to DC as well. So their mental state can't have been in a good place. They needed this fast, aggressive start. Get some points on the board early. Just forget about the previous weeks.
But now Boston have got a lot of ultimates to use here. The Blizzards are going to be very impactful for both sides. We'll see how they decide to use them. Axiom is hunting for a good Earth Shadow right now. The wall comes up, Muma caught against it. A rock and a hard place. Instantly brought down. A soundbite does not connect. Boston getting the better of this fight. Nice engage, using the Ice Wall to its fullest advantage there. They should be able to clean this one up. Axiom getting frozen up a little bit. It's going to be the slow siege right now from Boston to slowly trickle over this point, but they do eventually take it away.
And good patience, not using too many ultimates towards the end. Save the nano boost, save the blizzard as well. So this can definitely develop into a snowball for Boston Uprising. They have to use their ults correctly though. They'd really like to find a good main wall from Color Hex and win the next fight just with the nano.
Go, I give you the
Nano boost ready and waiting. The Ice Wall doesn't get what they were looking for. Oh, Blase gets caught out of position. The flashbang from Jerry takes him out. Now Houston are a little bit split here. One half of their team's on one side, the other on caught out of position. The Ice Wall now going to be used by Houston to try and at least peel for them a little bit, take up a bit of this damage. But now the Nano boost comes out onto Axiom. Huge fire strike, lays it into him, not 8 up. And Houston Outlaws are going to have to try and reset this one somehow.
And that's the perfect situation for Boston. They only used one ultimate, but by picking off Blase early and then not allowing Houston to disengage, they've managed to pick up 50% before the Houston Outlaws have even had an opportunity to take a decent team fight.
Now we see that the Blizzard is online for Color Hex. It's going to be a major win condition. A lot of eyes are going to be on Meko to see if he can eat this one. Ice Wall goes up again and has caught a couple of the members split. Boston don't want to take advantage of it. They don't want to try and engage this one. Houston are going to recollect themselves. The team regroups. going to be looking to see if they can take any sort of engagement here. Meko just teasing us right now with a self-destruct. Big Bionade onto the tank line of Houston. It's going to force them back. Boston still playing passive, just trying to get this free capture point percentage. Not really opting to take any fights just yet. And now we start to see the ultimates coming online. Starting to be used here. Muffin forced to use the self-destruct into the back. Earthshadow by Muma. Doesn't get too much done here. Now it's Boston's turn to try and strike back, but the ultimates are really not getting that much value, but Jerry's the one who comes out on top. Takes out Raucus, going to be a lack of healing now for the Houston Outlaws, and the sound barriers are exchanged as well on top of that. But it looks like Boston are the ones coming out on top.
They've got the Blizzard as well, and they've managed to catch a couple of people in it. ColorX taking down Dante, and with only the back line alive for the Houston Outlaws, what started out so strong, looked so good, Boston have taken all the way back.
Over's going to try and stall this one out. Tick the overtime over a little bit, but this map is so long, it's very difficult to even try and get onto the point, and that will be the Boston Uprising taking the first round in map number 1. Marvin's happy, you can see him flexing a little bit, blowing a kiss to the crowd.
Yeah, this crowd so far has not been particularly kind to other East Coast teams. The DC blood runs deep. But Boston Uprising are 1-0 up at the moment, and the confidence has got to be flowing for these guys.
Yeah.
For some of them, it's their first time on stage. For Muffin, for Jerry, for Axiom as the sole main tank as well.
Well, now another opportunity to see if Houston Outlaws can bring this one back. See them opting for mirror compositions across the board. Gonna be running the same comps, the main McCree that we've seen so often. And Jerry so far has been playing very well on the McCree.
He has. He's found decent sightlines and been able to get away with it. Whereas Lance's statistics last time he played were not all that great. A lot of pressure on him to be able to deliver in this matchup.
When we get slept up early here. See, both teams don't want to sacrifice the high ground just yet. Just taking pot shots, the spam. Waiting for that point to unlock, seeing if they can get enough spam damage to get an early pick, which will set them off right.
Or just collect damage on their tanks so that they can start to build up towards the nano boost.
Here we have it. Bionade onto Dante, force him back. The Ice Wall is defensively used here. Patching a couple of mana position. Axiom actually falls here. Raucus getting pressured heavily. But luckily his team is there to peel from 39 HP in a dream. He does survive here, but Houston are in a bit of trouble. They have to be healed back up. Luckily, Raucus is still alive. He's back there to be healing them up. Nano boost used by Myungbong here. Raucus going to be using one of his own now. Meko trying to get the value in with the damage.
Oh, he gets moved out,
he gets moved out, frozen, but luckily defrost just in the nick of time, but it matters not. Boston have slowly taken this fight away. They had a superior heal angle. That early damage onto Raucus really was the winning moment there.
Yeah, they managed to get the additional heals, force Houston Outlaws out away from the point, and also build their nano boost up really quickly. We've seen teams more and more start to favor nano boosting the Diva, because with those 3-second boosters, you can get into the backline and trade your Diva mech for 1, potentially 2 kills on the backline. Potential for an enormous Bionade.
A risky play by Myungbong, and he absolutely pays off. 3 players going to be anti-naded. Muma slept in the backline, caught out of position. Houston going to be capitalizing with their own, though. They're going to be trading 1-for-1. Actually, I'm forced to use his shatter, but again, not really devalued. I think that the Boston Uprising were looking quite sloppy gameplay from both these teams.
Very sloppy, and now with only a Lucio and a May on the point, ColorX falls. He got Bionaded there as well, so his Ice Block would have done nothing. They want to take up as much time as they possibly can, keep this stalling out, but this fight has been lost. Houston Outlaws with 6 ults are going to be able to retake.
Yeah, this is a great position right now for Houston Outlaws. Raucus can start to get in a nice line of sight position. As you said, Josh, the 6 ultimates online now for the Houston Outlaws is going to be critical, but another big Bionade here from Myungbong. He hits onto 3 players. Jerry playing very far forward. Luckily, Meko was there with the defense matrix. Now we see the ice. Blizzard coming out for the Boston Uprising, trying to freeze them up. Sound barrier to counteract this. Outlaws want to try and take this fight, but again, no one has fallen just yet. Both these teams playing quite passive, probably getting too much value out of their ultimates. But Dante's still holding on to his own. Now we see the speedy cowboy around the corner. The main tank gone. Axiom falls. Bit of a mistimed charge there by Muma, and he's going to get punished for it as well.
And Blase playing way too aggressive, trying to get value out of the flashbang, but just throws it straight into the defense matrix.
Oh, it's shambles.
Boston are taking this so easily. The Houston Outlaws had every opportunity to be able to work their ults, stay in control of this point, and draw the map up 1-to-1. but they've gifted it over to the Boston Uprising.
Not a scenario you want to see if you're a Houston fan. Now we're going to start to see the support ults coming online for Boston. Very close to the sound barrier, whereas Jax is just trying to build his currently. But the real win condition right now for Houston is going to be Dante's Blizzard. He gets a good run off. Another huge bio-nade.
Myeonbong.
He's been huge with them. Catches on to 4. Houston forced to back off. Play a little bit more patiently. Again, Raucus very close to his nano though. It's go time for Houston. Deadeye from Jerry, gets no value. He's going to try and take an off angle. A little bit of a flank. Muma getting pressured heavily now. Sound barrier from Boston. Going to try and play into them with the superior health point advantage. Now Muma lays down the shatter.
Great work from Color Hex, dodging it.
Yeah, dodges it with the ice block, and that is fantastic. And now, Houston, they have to get something done. Myeonbong going down is a great start, but they have to capitalize more. They need a couple of more picks. It's do or die now for map 1, and it seems like Boston are coming out on top. Muma chunked down, taken out of the fight. No one is able to touch this one. Dante with the ice block, he's gonna stall it out, but no more teammates are there. And Boston Uprising gonna make sure no one else touches this point, and they are going to cleanly take map 1. Muffin absolutely feeling himself, look at him.
Huge plays from Boston Uprising to start this one strong. And that bio-nade from Myeonbong in the final fight. Reinforcing Custer earlier on in the day, trying to inject belief into this Houston Outlaws roster. They're only 1-0 down, you can certainly turn it around. Temple of Anubis is gonna be the next map coming up. And it's a very different map. You can play dive, you can play a bit of the Widowmaker at times as well. But a lot of people are just still sticking to the basic McCree and May compositions.
It allows for some interesting comps for sure. What kind of changes, Josh, do you want to see from the Houston Outlaws? From what you've seen of this match so far from them, what do you think that they should aim to try and turn around in this map?
I think the most obvious change is swapping around the roles of Blase and Dante, but it's not a realistic change that you can make halfway through the map. If Dante has been using all of his practice time on May, and Blase hasn't, Blase will look out of his depth on May anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's reasonable to expect them to make that adaptation mid-match. But it is something that I think the coaches will perhaps get criticized for if this match continues to go this way and Boston Uprising start to get a bit ahead of steam going.
Jexa's going to be opting for the Brigitte here. The Boston Uprising, you can see them rolling out with a pretty standard composition.
I like the Anna Brig on defense though. You don't really need the Lucio to be able to maneuver around too much, you just want to hold your ground.
The Boston Uprising just biding their time. Bio-nade from Rapal chunked them down a little bit, but they're going to be waiting for that speed boost, and now here they go. The Ice Wall's going to be stopping them, but brought immediately down. Jerry has to back over the rest of his team, trying to find the shot onto Rapal. Houston, the Bio-nade used defensively, brings them back up, but Boston have taken control of the high ground. Not the position that Houston really want now, because they're forced into an unfortunate position here. Into the little cubby holes onto the point, and now Boston want to try and take advantage of this. The Ice Wall didn't quite catch any players. Another massive Bio-nade from Myeonbong. He's been huge with these. We're going to see now, look at the percentage right now, coming close to his nano boost, but the opening kill onto Muma is all they really need to get started. Boston Uprising are in a very solid position here. The nano boost now going to be unleashed. Beautiful sleep onto Jexa. Axiom struggling to get value, but in the backline now you can see the damage is already done. Jerry taking these off angles, Axiom just slamming them in the corridors. Boston Uprising, that is a rapid take point.
Another 4-man Bio-nade at the end of that fight as well. Myeonbong has been outstanding so far in this match. We knew that he came from incredible stock. He's Korean contenders. He was doing incredibly well last season when he was playing even outside of the Overwatch League.
Yep.
We knew it'd be great, but he is really putting on a show so far. The Bio-nade onto Muma, there was nothing that Muma could do. He instantly falls. He's got to move forwards, but he just can't take any healing.
And now we see, nice Ice Wall comes out from them with the shatter. Blase gets taken down. Axiom with the charge. The timing of that had to be perfect. And now that has opened things up now for Boston. Defensive self-destruct by Meko, has to use it to try and get his mech back, but it's too little too late. Jerry has already worked his way onto the point. He's in your home, he's in the last point of Temple of Anubis. And Houston Outlaws are crumbling under the pressure right now. Dante has to try and stall this one out in the corner. He's using his abilities wisely. Axiom brought down though. Nice Bio-nade from Rapal. Still very winnable for Houston Outlaws. And off the back of those picks, it should be their fight.
Yeah, but the Boston Uprising getting 2 ticks there is incredible for them. Axiom with such an instinctive Earth Shatter to take down Blase. I like the swap though for Houston. Blase is much more comfortable, much more well-known as a Doomfist player. And so to try and play around him and get the most value that you possibly can with Blase and Meko playing a little more aggressively, I like this change, this adaptation from them.
You can see Outlaws as well. They've got the rally to work with now. A bit of extra armor won't hurt them. Great ice wall by Houston. They catch him out of position again. Blase unfortunately couldn't get a pick, what he was looking for. The rally's going to be used. Look at that armor, the HP that Blase's working with. It's a lot. Nice little tech there to get up onto the high ground. Don't really see that every day. It's always nice to see the Doomfist perspective.
And definitely, look how much armor Blase has gotten. Goes in with a nano boost as well.
Oh,
they're going to absolutely crush here.
That Muma getting maximum value. I like to see this, the parkour from Blase. He's putting it to work, giving us a bit of a masterclass in the process.
And you see how much more comfortable this guy is on Doomfist compared to the McCree that he's been forced to play recently. I mean, he's not able to fly on McCree, so maybe that's the
key.
Maybe that's the difference maker.
And this has put Houston in a very nice position in terms of what ults they've got to rotate.
Absolutely. They've still got the Blizzard to be able to win this fight, where Dante looks like he's trying to find an opportunity to use it in this one. See if he can find an ice wall.
Ooh, that's
Actually does
beautiful.
catch them.
Nicely done by Houston. They're going to catch him out of position. Nanoboost is forced to use. Muffin's sleeping on the job here, but Blase's able to just collect a lot of these kills. Boston's still going to try and see if they can get any value whatsoever. Blase, fortunately missing the mark of the Meteor Strike, but it doesn't matter because they've crunched the Boston Uprising against the walls of Anubis. He's a historian's worst nightmare, ruining the hieroglyphics on the walls, but
I need healing.
What can be done? It's a war zone, Bren.
It's true.
Blase is so much more comfortable here. This has really turned things around for Houston. And Dante was able to help win that final fight without using his Blizzard whatsoever. So Houston Outlaws continue to build up this bank of ultimates with only 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Boston, though, have a ton of their own, so this fight is going to get very messy.
Yeah, Boston's fight to win at the end of the day. Nice bio nade. It's going to force out the sound barrier from Boston. They need it to try and continue and push forward into this fight. Axiom with the shatter, lays it down. Dante on the deck. The Deadeye, wonderful boop onto Jerry, forces him back. Means he's got little to no value out of it. Houston holding on, but the Blizzard has really caught a lot of them out of position here. Muma's in trouble, needs to be peeled. The shatter doesn't get the value he was looking for once more. Boston are able to just cleave through the opposition, finding the picks. The nano boost from Myeonbong is going to do the rest of the work here. Anyone who gets in front of Axiom's hammer is going to be made into a mincemeat bolognese. And it's just going to be a matter of time now, assuming Boston can clean up the remaining stragglers to try and jump onto the point here. No ultimates available for Houston to try and clutch this one.
Blase goes down as well. That really was, I mean, this guy is the only person that can clutch a fight like this on the Doomfist. He falls. Houston Outlaws desperately staggering players onto the point in an attempt to keep the time ticking down, but they can't get it under a minute.
Yeah.
1 minute 11.
And that 11 seconds is going to be crucial. It could be crucial.
Absolutely could be, because this match so far has been fairly close. Even though the Boston Uprising took the first map 2-0, each round was fairly close between the two teams, coming down to better execution of ultimates and how much value Blase was able to get.
I like that Houston were moving over to more comfort picks. This is a team historically that when they've struggled and instead opted to play roles that they're more comfortable on. Think about Jake's Junkrat, you think about some of the other stuff earlier in the season when, you know, he who should not be named was criticizing the Outlaws for not playing the DPS compositions on Iconvolt, but...
Yeah, absolutely. The Houston Outlaws have always been the kind of team that benefits from playing what they are comfortable with rather than what the meta dictates they should play. With this roster, when they made adjustments with Meko and Repel and JJoNak coming in, upgrades across the board, only Muma really from that previous team that was criticized for playing too stagnantly. But they still are running into these kind of problems with how they piece the roster together. So I like that they lean into their strengths rather than trying to play the composition that just is the best right now.
It's an opportunity for Houston to see if they can counterattack even faster, and I like the look of these early picks. Assuming they stick with it,
Dante, very well known for his Sombra. Blase, very comfortable on the Genji as well.
Some would argue that one of Muma's best main tanks is going to be the Winston as well.
Yep.
So
a lot of this comes down to how quickly Dante can build up the EMP, and that relies on Mufin. You can see Mufin spamming all of these different angles, trying to take Dante out of stealth mode. If they can find the normal routes that Dante would take and take him out of invisibility.
Yeah, look at a pre-fire around these angles, but see, look at it. Dante knows how to play a lot of these different angles. Now Muma going to be taking a bit of damage, but that's okay, because Rapal, oh, no, no, no. You don't want to see that one, but look at this. Houston, they realize they lose Rapal. It's time to engage and try and at least farm up some ultimate percentage, because that is going to be your win condition. You need to build up the EMP, the Dragon Blade, and the Nano Boost.
We see this composition get played quite a bit on Horizon Lunar Colony, but I would argue it's easier for the Sombra to get into position and start farming the EMP on that map. A minute has gone now, and Houston Outlaws have only generated about a third of their ultimates on both of the DPS heroes. I think Houston need to play a bit more aggressive to distract for Dante so that he can get that ultimate charge up.
We'll see now. Dante the backline! Myungbong with the reactionary sleep takes him out, but no one is going to be able to capitalize off this. Houston, nice peel from them. They split up Myungbong. It's exactly what they were looking for. Wonderful counter-attack there by Houston. Akshon, so I don't know where he came from, but he's going to be meeting his maker shortly afterwards.
And this is a little bit dangerous now for the Boston Uprising, because with that early pick onto Jerry and the fact that Myungbong wasn't helped in killing Dante, Houston Outlaws now have an EMP and a Nano Blade, the perfect combination for cracking open point B. If they just play a little bit slow here and wait for Dante's EMP, everything could be theirs. They might have a 4:30 kind of time back.
What a critical mistake from Boston Uprising, but what wonderful reactions peeling for Dante to ensure that he got out of that alive. Now they just got to wait until that EMP gets built up to 100%. See them already spamming them out. The Nano Boost is available here. Boston are going to be opting to use it early. They're going to take an early pickup onto Repel. This should be Boston backing off, disengaging, just trying to farm up these ults. And now that they're online, they're okay to go this fight. I mean, Axiom just really wants to clean up this fight, but I don't know if I agree with that one.
I mean, they're just trying to buy a little bit more time, right? Maybe the Earth Shatter could have been used to counteract the Nanoblade as it comes in, but I think they would rather have just the Boston Uprising be set up in a position to deal with them. Add a little bit more time on the clock. Maybe you find Dante in a compromising position when he goes for the EMP. They do have the bash from the Brigitte, the flashbang. They can try and freeze them, freeze with the blizzard.
Oh, Dante, he is caught in a bit of a precarious position because of the pre-fire, but
every exit is blocked.
If he gets off an EMP here, this could be the win condition for them. He needs to try and get some value out of it, and you can start to see the ultimates are going out, detected. The Dragon Blade comes out, the Nano Blade doesn't get any value, he gets 2 kills. This is what Blase was looking for. The execution was there, they didn't even need the EMP. Dante actually forced to translocate backwards, and Houston are in a great position now.
Yeah, except the Houston Outlaws have kind of split a little bit. They should still be good. They've still got that EMP, but I'm always worried when Houston are in a position like this. Can they still find that focus fire?
EMP comes out. Not quite. Jerry was the only one it caught it on. Dante flashbanged and taken out in the midst of it. Houston will still have an opportunity to try and defend this one, but Myungbong has free range. The shield is going to block the line of sight. He can't quite unleash the heals. The Bionate gets eaten up by Mecha as well. Sound Destruct going to be off to use now. Houston going to see if they can get value out of it, but it looks like this is Boston's turn to turn it around. Nanoboost onto Axiom is going to be chunking them down. Houston, though, they want to try and counter-attack this once more with their own sound barrier. Don't know if I'm a huge fan of it. Jerry, though, what is that, Dante? Like a rocket into the back line. 3 of them down with 1 strike. Houston Outlaws, just when you thought it was over, not quite yet. Dante flexing a little bit of what he can do, and he gets a better time.
That's incredibly impressive from Dante. Making the reaction clutch switch over to the Doomfist, comes in, immediately picks off Myungbong, and then gets another 2 afterwards as well.
I'd love to see that again, to see how he rolled out, because it felt like he got taken out in the fight and was instantly there again.
Yeah, he was incredibly fast. I mean, look at this. All the way in, takes that sound barrier as well, finds an angle onto Myungbong, who was just out of position there, didn't quite manage to tuck himself around the right-hand side, and then collapses with the rest of his team. That's the kind of focus fire, that's the explosive clutch that the Houston Outlaws have been missing for so long.
Yeah.
For 2 years, they haven't had a player with the explosive nature of Dante on the team to be able to clutch these fights.
Maybe this is what the armchair analysts were talking about when they wanted to see Dante being played. They predicted it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When you've got somebody like him sat on the roster, I think he should be played almost all the time for the Houston Outlaws. He's such an incredible talent.
Probably the best player, I'd say, on this team.
I would argue that, yes. I mean, there's a case to be made for Meko, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or possibly even Repel JJoNak, though I think those are weaker cases. But Dante is very, very good on the heroes that he plays.
Blase. There's something for the Tourbillon. You love to see it. This is actually a classic maneuver for Anubis. We used to see this years ago. It raises its head, it peaks a little bit every now and then. You get to see it.
How is he going to be able to find value against the May walls and against the Diva being able to hunt him down?
It's a very niche strategy. We'll see how it's employed. And he's trying to see these angles, but all of Boston have managed to work their way into the side tunnel section here of Anubis.
They do know that the Tourbillon is on the field at this point as well.
Well, let's see just how much damage he can pump out now. Seeing laying it in, but Jerry manages to get the first pick down to JJoNak. Not what you want to see. Move with the counter charge. Huge bio nade onto 3. Wonderful stuff. Repel setting up his team, but Muma's charge is the one that really opened it up, allowing that to happen. Now Blase not getting the most value out of the Tourbillon. Houston now forced to try and back off onto the point. Play a bit more defensively, but a pick onto Swimmer is beautiful. That's exactly what they want. The more picks that go like this, the worse it's going to be for Boston.
Yeah, Boston are not in a good position here. With 10 seconds left, Myeonbong falls as well.
Can't lose these players.
There's going to be nobody in a position to be able to touch the point as well, and there's a turret between them and the point to start with. Swimmer's in, but he's getting chunked down. The turret and Meko combined to take down the Lucio from Boston.
Wolfen's going to be able to touch the point here just to bring this overtime up. Axiom with a last-ditch charge. It's desperation. Collex gets soloed, shattered. It's a disaster for Boston. And it's going to be the Houston Outlaws with a lovely defense here on the first point of Anubis. This is what you wanted to see from the Houston Outlaws. I love the niche strategies.
The Tourbillon from Blase. No more with the McCree. He doesn't have to play the meta. He can use his turret to get damage instead.
Absolutely. It's like having a 7th player, you know?
Yeah, deal with that, Jerry.
You can't.
It's interesting, though. I wonder whether that was something that the Houston Outlaws coaches cooked up, or Blase just making mid-game adaptations, hopping onto weird heroes. You got to think it's something that the Houston coaches have worked on specifically for overtime situations like that.
Yeah. Stuff like that can throw teams really off tilt.
Oh, absolutely. You only have a minute to be able to figure out how to approach it, where to go, how to maneuver around the turret. You get shaken out of your comfort zone. And the Houston Outlaws are opting for the same strategy.
Seems like they are.
The Genji Sombra dive with 2 minutes 40 in the time bank. If they don't get an early pick on Jerry like they did the first round, I'm worried that they won't be able to generate their ults in time.
Yeah, this strategy really relies on having those full 4 minutes at the start of the game to try and build those ults, because they are your win condition. But Houston got lucky last time. They got the opening pick.
I mean, I wouldn't say got lucky as well. They executed a very good dive. But will it work twice?
See, Boston are actually kind of reading this a little bit. They're going to be running the Brigitte instead of the Lucio. That shield bash stun can often be fantastic for trying to shut down any sort of dive attempts.
Certainly can. It didn't work last time, though. Houston Outlaws trying to get Dante into position. He's worked his way around the back, but Myeonbong knows he's around there.
And now it's go time. You can see Houston. They count it down. They charge into the fray. Don't get too much value. Repel's caught. That's a bit of a nasty position to be in, but it looks like the rest of the Houston Outlaws are on the point. Repel just trying to survive. Dante gets slept up. This is really anyone's game as it stands. A lot of players falling low.
Yeah.
The Boston are going to be the ones coming out on top.
They tried to execute a dive onto Jerry again, but like we thought, the Boston Uprising were ready this time. That kind of strategy isn't going to work so easily twice. The second time around wasn't as effective. Blase, a minute has gone and only a third of his Dragon Blade built up. Dante's slightly better, sat at 50%. At this rate, Dante will get his ultimate, and that EMP could be everything you need.
Collex just laying in a bit of spam with the icicles. he can get an early pick, it would be nice.
Yeah, that would be amazing. It's going to be tight for Houston.
It's going to be very tight. 1 minute 20 seconds to build up these ults. Muma gets chunked down again, which means Rapal's going to be building up this nano boost, but Myungbo's going to have one of his own. Oh, that's a wonderful dive by Houston.
They thought they were going onto Jerry, and they faked them out, and instead went onto Myungbong. There was no protection there for the Ana player from Boston.
What a beautiful fake, and now Houston, that could be exactly what they needed. No more heals for the Boston Uprising. No nano boost. Axiom's in no man's land. He's in the middle of nowhere. This gives Houston Outlaws a lot of room to work with. Nano boost onto Blase, but they opt to exchange one of their own. And Boston are going to try and turn this one around. Players falling low on every single side. Blase just about gets up onto the ledge. Houston not able to capitalize. Blase still can't build up this blade. He's hunting for it, only 30 seconds remaining.
The blade eludes him, but the EMP is still there. They can still EMP blade to try and turn this around. They're so close to that single tick.
And here we go. Blade comes out, and he only connects onto Swimmer, but he shuts him down. No value, but all they need is a bit of capture time, but they're not going to be able to get it here. Boston still with a foothold, still with a hope and a chance. And as Houston slowly crumble one at a time, it's looking less and less likely. Axiom with the Earth Shatter, ready and waiting. He's going to wait for the bubble to pop before he lays it down, and he finds 3. He seals the deal, and Boston Uprising.
You are one of very few people who rate the Boston Uprising very high, but they're doing very well in this match so far, and I think they're showing that they are a capable team when they're playing meta compositions, and when they're playing against some of the not top 5 teams in the league, like NYXL were.
Going to be heading over to Dorado for map number 3. Remember, it is first to 3, so it's going to be a couple more maps before we see a victor in this case.
Absolutely. I do agree with the desk. I would like to see Blase off the McCree. He has other heroes that he's capable at. You can play a bit of Doomfist, or a bit of Dive, or even a Fire of Mercy on Dorado Point A defense. It changes up the style of how you play completely. But if Houston's plan really is just to play the meta no matter what, I'm worried for how this series and for how the beginning of 2020 in total is going to go for Houston.
Well, here we have it. The gates are unlocked. Players are on their way. The Boston Uprising looking to see if they can set a good time here on the attacking side of Dorado. See Jerry and Blase going to be meeting head-to-head with that McCree battle, but other than that, JJoNak also opting for the Brigitte instead. A little bit of better healing compared to the Lucio.
Yeah, more opportunities to get bashes on key targets as well. Maybe take a Diva out, protect Blase a little bit more. It tends to work very well when your McCree is an incredibly powerful individual aimer, but that isn't really Blase.
Yeah, you need mechanical talent to sort of coincide with it, but for now it's going to be a slow attempt by both these teams. The Ice Wall used by Boston to try and catch a player or two out of position, but it's Axiom is going to be the one bit off a little bit more than he can chew. Jerry tried to go for a kill there, but Swimmer booped him out of the way of his shots. Boston's still just going to be playing slow, waiting for Axiom to come back into the fight, seeing if they can get a kill with a bit of spam damage. You can see him exchanging shots across that staircase.
Yeah, it all comes down to the ice walls and how they actually engage. Boston Uprising need to make use of the speed boost coming out here, and they have played
nice
really
counter
aggressive.
pin. Muma puts him onto the deck, but Jerry is the one who capitalizes it. Takes Muma down. That's opened things up now for the Boston Uprising to move forward. Houston, without their main tank, are going to find it a struggle to defend this one, especially against the Deadeye.
Trying to get around the ice wall, gets boosted up as well. Great play to take down Raucus.
There's plays like that, the creativity that you love to see. And Jerry gets free reign from this angle. The Ice Wall going to be trying to mitigate the damage, but again, Muma caught out of position. Meko just a little bit late when he comes to try and appeal for him. The Boston Uprising are going to be happily taking this one, at least with point A.
I like this from Boston. It's decisive. They're making good use of the Lucio. When you're in this scenario, when you're running Ana and Lucio against an Ana and Brigitte, you need to get the benefit of the speed boost. Otherwise, you're just running a worse composition. And so the Boston Uprising get big value out of that Nano early on. And then a great ice wall from Color Hex too.
Ooh, okay.
Axiom slept up here could be a bit of a danger, but the counter sleep comes onto Muma. Both Reinhardt snap in.
Both teams having to use their ice walls defensively. Blase going to be the recipient of the nano boost, has to drop down away from the Blizzard. Mumano caught out of position. You can see Axiom actually trying to use a shield to block away the healing away from Muma. Still the Boston Uprising going to be coming out on top. Meko slept as he tries to get into his mech. The flashbang from Jerry will be enough as they put an end to him. So Boston again pushing forward. A lot of proactive plays from them to try and take away that team fight. I like it.
Yeah, completely messy though from both teams. Just up on the high ground, sleeping Reinhardts all over the place. It's not what they'll have been practicing in scrims. It's very reactive. A lot of ults up here for both teams. Dante in a good position to pick his timing for this Blizzard.
Oh, and again, Muma caught out of position against the wall. It's a tried and tested combo. Jerry and Blase going to be exchanging a couple of hits here. Forced into the corner. Jerry again capitalizes. Takes him out. Blase had to back away from the self-destruct. Boston looking great so far. Able to find these openings wherever.
Yeah, very well coordinated. With 4.5 minutes left to capture point C. Boston Uprising are rolling this map so far. And forward spawns from Houston. That is not what you want to see. The momentum is just going to keep on rolling. This card shows no signs of stopping. Boston Uprising going to rotate up top, take the high ground away from Houston without Raucus even being in position to heal up his team and contest.
And this is going to be brutal now because Jerry with the Deadeye on the high ground. That Deadeye is going to be causing havoc if they've got nothing to try and counteract it. See Houston opted to try and take the high ground. The ice wall gets really no value. Just a little bit of space. Nice boop though. I believe that was Meko that pushed Jerry down onto the low ground. It meant that the Deadeye was completely negated. Now it gives Houston the high ground. They're going to be trying to drop down the Earth Shadow, laid down, Boomer and Chengdu. They hit the deck, and the damage is done. Axiom sets it up for the double kill. Blase going to be trying to see if he can turn this one around in his own way. Meko sleeping on the high ground. He's going to be frozen as well. Not an ideal scenario as he gets staggered out.
Dante is back on the Doomfist, but instantly gets killed as well. Mufin is right up in his face.
Yeah, that Blizzard is going to be causing the Houston Outlaws. They have to try and take off angle to try and get onto this point. Muma taking down. The Houston Outlaws are just falling, crumbling to pieces. A last-ditch effort from Raucus with the Bionade is not quite enough. It's going to be a very fast round by Boston.
An unbelievably fast round. Sickeningly fast. 3 minutes still in the time bank? Muffin's got a smile on his face for good reason here. The Houston Outlaws not feeling good.
Well, it felt like we just started, but we're going to have a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hit some kind of record. I'm sure there's people scrambling in the stats room to try and figure it out, but that's nasty. The Boston Uprising have just hit them with a gut punch just when Houston Outlaws were trying to recover some kind of momentum in this series.
Yeah.
Coming off a draw where they would have loved for it to be 1-1 at the half. Oof.
Brutal.
Yeah, Jerry now moving over to the Widowmaker as well. He's been feeling good so far this series.
Yeah, he's definitely had some hype coming into the league as well from at least some of the minor niche areas of the community. Picking up his mechanical prowess. He's definitely had some good on-stream performances, and it's good to see it translate over to the big screen as well.
I also like how Axiom's been performing. We've seen on Herd, actually, that he has a good reputation among the other pros for being a good main tank player, but you would normally expect Fusions to be here on the Rhine. So far, though, they haven't skipped a beat, changing out who would normally be the main tank for the Boston Uprising. Axiom's looked strong so far, especially on that offense on Dorado.
It's a very early rotation down to the arch rate from Boston. They didn't want to give too much space. Look at this, a defensive ice wall from them. Houston are trying to fake out a rotation all the way around. They're still deciding what they want to do here.
Houston have to play aggressive. They've got the May Reaper. They need to get in their faces before Jerry can find hits.
No, the ice wall is going to be splitting them up a little bit. Jerry, he's on your flank. He's on a mission. Seems that he succeeded with Blase going down. And that's a big chunky of damage missing if you're the Houston Outlaws. Nice fire strike from Axiom. He's getting a lot of damage in with that one. Jerry again, another nice pick off onto JJoNak. Is it Houston have no choice now but to back all the way out?
Yeah, Houston just can't quite find these timings and angles and ice walls to be able to engage with the May Reaper. They haven't really found a good target to sink their teeth into. They're too obvious with how they rotate around the map. 6 people moving this way, 6 people moving that way, waiting for the cooldowns to all be back before they go. Sometimes you have to turn up the tempo and ignore your cooldowns just because you have to catch the enemy team unaware. If you make it too predictable, Boston can just out-rotate. Dante, though, is coming up to his Blizzard, so opportunities here still for Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what they can do. And look at the speed, the aggression, the moves coming out now from Houston. Meko went into the back line to try and contest with Jerry. But the front line's where the action is. And Muma going down gives him the free Earth Shatter. 3 on the deck. Luckily, Dante's Blizzard stops a lot of the damage going on to Houston. They are still in this fight. But for how much longer? They have the superior spawns. Blase getting a surprise pick up onto Jerry as well.
Yeah, Meko just chased him all around the map. Blase just picks up the free kill. Thank you very kindly. But they need to wait for Muma to be back in position. This Reaper May can do nothing without a shield in front of them. And now Color Hex has his ultimate.
Yeah, Color Hex waiting with the Blizzard. See, Robin opts to use the self-destruct. It's going to create some space. But Blase's already taken down Axiom. They're missing their main tank, but a nice Blizzard. Dante and Muma. You're going to get cleaned up here. Color Hex with 2 easy icicles straight into the cranium. He's going to opt for a 3rd as well.
Houston still struggling. 1 minute left and they have yet to really pick anything up. It was a nice first kill onto Axiom there. It's the first time where they've really been able to do that. But Color Hex found 3 in the Blizzard, all frozen up. Unbelievable. Muma, Dante, and Blase. They get picked so quickly. Houston again, this 6-man band roaming around the map.
Really in struggling territory for Houston because they're relying on Muma to try and clutch with the Shatters, which haven't been reliable in the past. Boston Uprising, they got 2 support ults to work with here. That Bionade is filthy. Samurai going to be used for them. Jerry trying to take a couple of off angles here. Meko, look at those boosters, taking full advantage of them. Oh my! What is that, Jerry? Gets taken out in response, but the damage is done. Raucus can't use the nano boost. Still, the kills are flowing in for the Houston Outlaws, and they're going to be happy with that. Cleaning up in the nick of time. They only had seconds to spare, but they are going to be able to cap point A.
And the Houston Outlaws, Bren, they did the impossible. They did something different. They worked through the right-hand side and they demech Muffin before they attacked. It's something that's rarely been seen before. The Houston Outlaws changing things up from fight to fight. And it did everything for them. They identified where Muffin was holding and sent 2 people to demech him while the other 4 pushed aggressively. That's the kind of split play that I want to see more.
JJoNak is going to try and boot them up to high ground here. Gets Color Hex caught out of position. That's going to force Boston. They have to go to the low ground here. Earth Shatter from Uma. Well, actually, I believe that was Axiom who got the Earth Shatter off, but still the value and the damage is done here as Jerry's able to clean up a couple of these kills. Blase waiting for a good opportunity to use this Death Blossom. Blizzard's not going to be getting anyone because the Ice Block's there to block them off, but Dante taken out, and still Boston coming out on top in these team fights.
Yeah, overlapping Blizzards there, so difficult for either team to take advantage, and that favors the Boston Uprising because they can play from range. They have the McCree. The Houston Outlaws, they can't play from range. Blase gets no value if he has to sit on the outskirts of a big frozen wasteland.
Look at the aggression now by Boston. They're playing right up into their spawn. This is what you really want to see, the speed boost. The self-destruct comes out from Boston.
I mean, I don't really know what that set up, but Raucus has been picked.
They tried to get some value by pushing them out of position. Dante forced to use the ice wall again, just to try and get a couple of these players in, but only a minute remains for Houston, and they have got barely any progress on the middle section of this map.
They haven't been able to take any space whatsoever. They're trying to back Boston into a corner and find an ice wall, but they're wasting all their cooldowns just on the approach.
Here, ready, waiting. Death Blossom, but booped out of position. Doesn't matter though, still collects 1, but Jerry made a meal out of it. 2 kills on the flank. Traded very nicely, very cleanly. The Boston Uprising, they only had to commit a couple of ultimates into it. but they've still got room to breathe. They've still got Color Hex's Blizzard, and only 20 seconds now for Houston to try and make some magic.
A miracle is required here for the Houston Outlaws. Houston fans, put your hands together, not to clap. It will be a while until you get that opportunity, I think. Blaze's moved over to the McCree, see if he can make the magic happen. But he's all the way at the back, and it hasn't been great for him so far.
Oh, they're gonna push right into the Deadeye, the charge! Absolutely destroyed, but Meko tries to make something out of it. The self-destruct takes out Jerry. But Boston Uprising, they seem to have full control of the fight, full control of the map. And as they pick off the remaining stragglers, they are going to take map number 2, or map number 3, I should say.
Yeah, map number 3 to go 2-0 up in the series. Remember, in 2020, we are playing first to 3, so... I mean, there must be a reason behind it, and you're probably correct. But as of yet, I haven't really seen a big difference between Raucus and Repel, which is honestly positive for Raucus as well.
Yeah.
Heading into Blizzard World, Repel will have to step up to Myunbong's kind of level. And even though Raucus and Repel have been able to hit some good sleep darts, some good bionades, Myunbong has stolen the show.
He certainly has. We are really quite spoiled in the Overwatch League when it comes to flex support players.
I think it's the deepest role. It has the most talent, it's the most competitive. There are just so many incredible, mostly Korean, flex supports in this league. For some reason, the Korean Contenders region just pumps them out.
Well, now it's Boston Uprising's turn to attack here. Houston going to pull all the stops out to try and stop them. Obviously, because they're only one map away from taking the entire series.
And finally stopping that 9-match loss streak. Boston Uprising, they can smell it. Against their former player Blase, no less.
I'm sure at this point, it's not on their minds at all. They're only focused on one thing and one thing only, and it's going to be this match here as we head into potentially the last map of the series. Boston Uprising versus the Houston Outlaws. You can already see the early rotations coming out. The ice wall is nice. It's going to push apart Color Hex from the rest of the team, but it's an even better one from the Boston Uprising. And Myunbong, again, a beautiful bionade. Sets up his team, cuts off the healing, and Boston Uprising, they crack open the point like a runny egg.
And you can really see the difference between the ice walls and how it can just totally change a fight. The first one from Dante, okay, it splits the team and stops Color Hex having an impact, but Boston just run away, they just disengaged. Whereas when Color Hex uses his ice wall, Houston have nowhere to go. And Moomer and the front couple of players that were caught off just immediately get eviscerated.
Boston with a very, very fast point A capture. Both teams are going to have these nano boosts now to utilize if they choose to. Boston now opting to rotate onto the high ground. This is the kind of moves that you want to see. Someone's always going to be on the cart, of course, pushing you through.
Yeah, they're looking for an ice wall. They're looking for an ice wall, and they're going to try and get the nano boost onto Axiom, or possibly Muffin in the backline. But I would expect Axiom.
Waiting for now. They're not going to opt to use the ice wall, but look at this Axiom. It's caught between the walls, but Boston are in regardless here. The nano boost, it's not getting too much value. It forces Houston to disengage.
And now Boston dragging the fight back onto the card. They have the Blizzard, so if Houston Outlaws drop, this Blizzard could be deadly from Color Hex.
Well, Dante forced to use the ice block there. He got chunked down as he was dropping onto the low ground. He still has his wall. He's going to use it to split a couple of them off. Now Blase with the Deadeye. See if they can trade it out. Nice defense matrix. Going to be eaten up. Echo going to be resuiting down to the back line here. Still anyone's game. Somehow Blase gets picked off there by the self-destruct. It's not really the best.
4 minutes still, and Boston Uprising have still got this huge Blizzard advantage. Dante is struggling to build this one up.
Color Hex just waiting for a good opportunity to use it now. Waiting to see if Meko can get demeched at least. And he's pushed away while Meko was forced to defense matrix to Deadeye. It's a free Blizzard for the Boston Uprising. And Axiom's Earth Shatter sealed the deal. And that's going to be another capture into point B. Boston Uprising, 5 minutes in the time bank is almost unheard of.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. The Houston Outlaws are just putting up no defense right now. They're crumbling. They can't even find an opportunity to force a fight on the payload and at least stall some time. Let's take a look at this Axiom Shatter that sealed the deal towards the end.
An absolute freebie. They were all frozen up. He realized it.
And the sound barrier coming out from JJoNak could do absolutely nothing. Nice ice wall, but defensive from Dante. He picks off his counterpart, but Axiom cannot be stopped. And this payload just keeps on moving.
Yep.
The Houston Outlaws can't get near it.
His pickoffs have been brutal for Houston. They're trying to stop the bleeding. They're trying to at least get up a decent defense, but unable to press forward. But now it is go time. You see the ice wall? It's decent by Dante, but Boston managed to wriggle away around it. Boomer chunked down. He goes for the Earth Shatter, but he gets nothing. Dante is going to be unleashing his own Blizzard, and thankfully is going to get something out of that one. 2 players frozen up meant that Houston finally are going to be able to stop this push.
Swimmer invests his sound barrier into that to attempt to save the people caught in the Blizzard, but doesn't quite manage it. A decent investment though, considering you had already picked the Reinhardt from the opposing team. And now the problem for Houston is that the ult bank has gone completely in favor of Boston Uprising. Echo is slept as well. Potential for the Blizzard to come out already for Colohex.
Yeah, we're going to see it actually utilized. Colohex actually wants to hold on to it. Nano boost by Repel. Used onto Muma, he just wants to hold on to Axiom. He's falling very, very, very low. Self-destruct into the backline. Jerry! He tried to make the moves. Oh my word, he falls to his death. The counter charge by Muma. And Houston are going to hold on. Jerry. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, I knew this match would deliver entertainment, Brent. Boston, Houston. Jerry performs so well. He thinks, I'll give him a freebie.
Yeah. I mean,
still got 3 minutes left as well.
With a sound or with a speed boost, it's possible to make that jump, but he just didn't have it. Swimmer wasn't there. Maybe Swimmer just thought, nah, it's not your time to shine. Switch it to healing at the last second. But here we have it. Colohex now looking to try and get the value out.
Nice wall.
Very nice wall. It's going to force the nano boost almost immediately to be used onto Muma. Muma is falling very low, has to shield, has to back off. And the Blizzard could have got a little bit more value. Colohex didn't really get a lot done with it.
Yeah, he had to throw it right at the floor because he was worried about Meko's defense matrix. Need to throw it at the floor so that the defense matrix doesn't eat it up. And now counter Blizzard coming out from Dante. Doesn't pick anybody either. And Jerry in the backline this time.
Oh, you can see Momo goes for the shatter. Doesn't find anything. He only found the one player, and that was movement falling to the deck. But it looks like this is Boston's match. Saebyeolbe's going to come out from Houston. They try and hold on. At least with a HP advantage, they can try and take something here. Blase using his Deadeye to force positioning off to the side. That's good from Houston. They managed to stall it out just a little bit.
Muma is getting bullied in these matchups. He's either frozen up, or he's getting bionaded, or Meko isn't quite there to be able to defense matrix him. Houston have still got to work on a lot of how their tank line engages. I think this is one of the issues with adding Meko to this roster, is that they don't quite have the synergy developed just yet. They win that fight, but these next few are gonna be tough. Boston just had so much time.
Deadeye from Jerry, speedy cowboy.
Split Muma off again.
And look at this ice wall. Oh my word. Almost got the better of Blase, but the bullets from the Peacekeeper will do the rest. Flashbangs abound. Muma stalled up frozen. It's cold times out here if you're a main tank player. Player's going to be looking to see if he can collect any more. This is going to set the Boston Uprising on the right path. Didn't get any more picks off. You can see Dante's just waiting, stalling, trying to buy a bit more time in the ice block.
But at least they're dying on the payload. This timer has ticked down. Boston Uprising will not have over a minute left when they capture, if they capture at all. But the ults are all there. Colohex with that Blizzard. Meko's going to look to gobble it up.
He has to eat this now. It's going to be a big win condition for them. The self-destruct is going to force the shield round to the back, and Myeonbong is not safe. Axiom with the Earth Shatter, connects it from the side, and 3 hit the deck. Jerry, once again, able to clean up. The Boston Uprising are going to push it into the final checkpoint.
Great pace from Boston. Still good time on the clock. They did get snarled up quite a bit on point C, but honestly, I think I speak for the crowd when I say that Jerry is starting to become one of my favorite players. He's got the fragging potential. He's an aspiring base jumper. He's got everything you need for a superstar rookie to take the stage.
You can hear the crowd chanting Jerry's name, and he was the one to capitalize off of Axiom's Earth Shatter here. You can see it laid down, and guess who's on the flank? The one and only Jerry.
All
He's
around
got
the side.
such a fun name to scream, Josh. I cannot stress enough.
The Boston Uprising sped through that map. I mean, yes, the Houston Outlaws did a good job on point C, but they were absent from the whole of the rest of Blizzard World. They have a tough time ahead of them being able to take this map and get back in this series. I keep coming back to Temple of Anubis.
Yeah.
If the Houston Outlaws had been able to convert that win and gone 1-1 at the half, I think their whole mental game is different.
But the Outlaws are a team that are already at a disadvantage coming into this map. We mentioned it earlier, but this team has just been through some very bad luck.
Yep.
They lost their baggage on the way here.
All very ill.
All of their damage-dealing players are ill, currently sick. It's been unfortunate for the Houston Outlaws. They're working under some bad conditions right now, but they're trying to make the best of it. They're going to be trying to make a go now of Blizzard World. They are on the attack. They have to get a full completion now to compete with the Boston Uprising, otherwise it all could be over here.
Houston Outlaws again going to run Blase on the McCree, looking for an opportunity to break this top hold. They need Meko to play a little aggressively. He boops a couple of people off the high ground. Good, that'll start the Boston Uprising retreating. It's a nice wall as well from Dante, but they can't quite capitalize.
Almost caught 1 or 2 out of position.
Coming around the point here again. Take a look at the ice walls from Dante. This one perfect.
This one's great. There you go. Those are the kind of ice walls we want to see. Dante sets it up for his team, and the Houston Outlaws easily are going to be able to clean up the rest of these players. It's going to be a point A capture. The Boston Uprising keeps straggling onto the point.
Outlaws need that kind of momentum. They crush the Boston Uprising there. Great use of the May wall from Dante and all of this aggression. Just the faster you can get in the enemy faces, they respawn, the more momentum you could get for yourself as you go through Blizzard World Point B. And Dante is miles ahead of Color Hex in terms of his ult generation. Not quite as far ahead as Color Hex was on his attack, but even so, if they can start to get the ball rolling a little bit, control of the high ground, get a couple of picks, Houston could still be looking good.
Another great ice wall from Dante, forces them back. It's going to be the 1-for-1 trade at least. In the back line here, Jerry pressured down once more. And it seems like Houston have figured out what's really going to be biting them, and it is Jerry getting a lot of value on these flanks. They shut him down this time.
Yeah, I like this from Meko. A bit more aggressive from him. Get right up in Jerry's face. And Houston Outlaws have just kept the cart rolling. It's starting to get about halfway through point B.
Deadeye used by Jerry once more. The Blizzard from Dante is going to stop them from really trying to push forward. Not enough though. Bullets don't care about ice. 2 for him. Shield just could not hold up.
No, absolutely not. Houston Outlaws stayed a little too long up on the high ground. And Repel, my son, what are you up to back there? Just staggering himself a little bit towards the end of that fight. Houston Outlaws, though, still have 4 minutes. It's all still going well for them, but this time they're going to have to grapple with the high ground. They need to take a dry engagement. Having said that, with where the payload is actually positioned, they could take the low ground route and try and force a fight down there. But they will give up all the tempo. And by that, I mean the Boston Uprising can choose any opportunity they like to fight them.
What in the Lord's name? Axiom goes for the charge. And oh, wow.
Great ice wall from Color Hex, catches Repel out, and he's just totally vulnerable to that Diva Bomb.
Now they sacrifice a lot of this high ground positioning, but I think Boston are going to be okay with this because Repel, look at that. Using the ice wall to get back up and booped off almost instantly afterwards. Boomer somehow wins the 1v1 there against Color Hex. This is a brawl down under anyone's game right now.
It's just chaos. It is chaos. Houston Outlaws have stayed in this fight a little too long. Boston had everything they needed to succeed. And once the Boston Uprising cement themselves, Houston are going to be wishing they had that minute back. They do still have ults though. Things aren't still terrible for Houston. They've still got a bit of a foothold in this game. But they need to figure out a way of dragging Boston down from the high ground and fighting on even terms without just losing the initial engagement and having Muma get destroyed. So this time, working their way around the left-hand side, fighting on this high ground. Muffin knows they're coming.
Blase using the Deadeye, but Jerry's also got one of his own! Taken out first! It's high noon. Blase's the better cowboy of the two, at least for the time being. That gives him free reign to pop off a couple of these shots. Caught up into the Blizzard, has to drop to the low ground. Luckily, his team is there to support him. With the damage being done here, Houston have chunked down the Boston Uprising. Boston forced to back off and away now.
A great first pick there, and they've expended every single ultimate from the Boston Uprising. There's really nothing on the board. So as long as JJoNak doesn't get picked, Houston should have been in a great position. That's a bit of a disaster. They're probably going to reset here and wait for their Lucio to come back, because if they just try and fight here and get value out of the Blizzard, the speed advantage for Boston will just totally ruin their chances.
Yeah, you need that speed boost. You
And
gotta wait.
that's 10 seconds extra for Boston to start building up the nano boost, the self-destruct, tools that they can use in this next engagement that will decide point B.
You're gonna take out this Ice Widow. Dante, he needs to get into this fight. Ice was gonna be used. Boston just worked their way around. They need to try and get a D-Mech.
Three-man bio.
Three-man bio from Repel is massive. Forces Boston even further back. This is a great fight so far from Houston. Now we're gonna see the Blizzard laid down onto the point. If anyone tries to contest, it's gonna be very difficult. Axiom countercharged and pinned, but doesn't get frozen in the end. Houston's still coming out on top as Mecho's taking the off angles. Jerry going down. Moving self-destruct doesn't get too much here. Still looking to capitalize. Movement once again goes for a charge. Out of nowhere. I feel like I'm watching Gig play maybe, but Houston are the ones who will be coming out on top.
They just about managed to pick up checkpoint B there. I was worried for them, Bren, because Boston have such a spawn advantage when it gets to that point. But now that they've got the picks, they can start moving forwards. A kill onto Jerry would be huge. Nice, they get Jerry and Mufin. These are players that will spawn way further back, and the Houston Outlaws can start ticking their way through point C. Only 2 minutes on the clock compared to the 5 that Boston Uprising had. But they've got a good ultimate situation to keep the momentum rolling.
Yeah. All you need is 2 good fights here for Houston, and you can get a comparable time back with Boston Uprising. A lot of pressure now. It's going to be onto Mecho. Jerry! Again, how does he get value out of these dead eyes every single time?
Where did he thread that one through? Did he come around the back?
JJoNak, his sound barrier is gone.
That's absolutely brutal for Houston.
Still Houston going to be trying to make the most of it here. Color Hex though, aggressive. This is absolute chaos. Ultimates are being traded left, right, and center. There doesn't seem to be a semblance of control in this fight. Still Houston looking to counterattack. It's going to be a better Blizzard from them, and they are going to be able to push this one further forward.
Yeah, Axiom really felt like he could turn that. With one more swing and he would have had his ultimate up. Potentially that Earth Shatter changes everything, but they just ran straight into Dante. And now Houston still have an opportunity to finish with a roughly similar time bank. They need to get aggressive. The wall could be huge.
Great by Dante. Really pushing them apart. You always got to be watching out when Jerry's on the flank. Repel takes care of him. Anyone's game. Axiom, no value out of the Earth Shatter. Houston pushing this one forward. They just need 1 or 2 more kills. And they have done it, surely. It's going to take care of Color Hex. The Ice Wall's doing a lot there from Dante, and they are going to get a comparable time.
The Outlaws still in this series, still in this map. But it's close. It's so close. They have to work for every single inch.
I wasn't joking when I said map 7.
It could absolutely happen. We're looking like we're set up potentially for a draw on Blizzard World as well. Only 1 minute for the Houston Outlaws, 1 minute 10 for the Boston Uprising.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, both of the teams were very quick on their point A attacks. So if we see the same thing happen again, both of these teams are more likely to take it into the payload portion. But adaptations will definitely be happening. Previously, when Houston attacked, they sent Mecho up onto the high ground, booped a couple of people down, and then had a nice May wall from Dante to open things up. So what's going through Boston Uprising's head here will be, okay, we've got to anticipate Mecho coming aggressively into us. Perhaps we can find a flashbang or a freeze to be able to take advantage of him. And then when we rotate on the point, we've got to make sure that Axiom isn't in position where he can get caught out by Dante's May wall. It's all about that rotation around the side. From this high ground to the point. Has to be clean. Otherwise, Boston are going to give up point A, and it looks like a Houston win. But so much happens before that is the case.
Dante's been looking progressively better as the series goes on when it comes to his Ice Wall placements. Again, you got to remember, Houston Outlaws still trying to find their footing with what composition they want to run, with what teammates they want to run. And as you said, Josh, you set the scene perfectly. It's all about these rotations.
They're not even giving a chance. They don't want anyone to get cut off by the May wall, so Boston Uprising rotate to the point immediately. Establish position before Houston have any opportunity. And now it's just a default fight on the point. Dante's May wall too far back, can't find anybody. Nice defensive May wall from Collex.
Jerry now slept up. That could be a win condition for him. The Bayonade is going to get
Muma
onto
got bio.
Muma very, very low. Has to back off to the safety of his team. Boston's still in this. Sleep down into the backline. Blase, he's sleeping on the job. He's going to be waking though. But Boston Uprising, they've already taken down 2. And Houston Outlaws, they're scrambling, trying to find an opening here. But it doesn't look like they're going to get it. Barely even touching the point.
And the Boston Uprising hold on. They went for an incredibly quick rotation to make sure that they were never going to get anybody caught out there. Nice defensive play from Boston, and they've set themselves up in a decent position to win. Now all of the pressure is on the Houston Outlaws. If they make a single mistake, they will continue that loss streak. They will not find this elusive match win in 2020. A Northern 3-star would be so devastating for the Outlaws.
It really would.
But it's one mistake away.
I feel especially bad for them as well. It's an organization that's had a lot of pressure on it from the get-go.
Absolutely.
The fan base has been described as enthusiastic at times.
Rabid at other times.
Rabid at other times. But this is it. Do or die. The Houston Outlaws on the defense. 1 minute 10 to burn off the clock to try and extend out this series and get the draw.
And Dante on a roll that he was not picking up in their previous matches. A lot of pressure on this guy's shoulders. These May walls have to be really good. Muma apparently not feeling the pressure whatsoever. Flexing around. But they'll set up on this high ground the same as the Boston Uprising. I'm not expecting Collex to stay on this, but that could be an interesting adaptation. Nope, he goes back over to the May.
Yeah,
Complete
so
mirror match for both of these teams.
Just using the arrow to scout out a little bit, see if they were holding close.
But let's take a look. How do the Houston Outlaws adapt to this? Early damage onto Jerry. They go for the early rotation
Sleep
as well.
onto Muma. Sleep onto Muma.
Could be absolutely pivotal.
Whoa! Dante needed to find that pick. He stopped the push in its tracks.
That
clutch.
is so good from Dante. 44% to his ult as well. He saves Muma, who was just asleep on the floor, and finds the crucial pick.
Let's take a look at it again. This is exactly what they needed. When Muma was slept, he had to come up big. One instance where they just slipped past the barrier. But now,
the Boston Uprising have already rotated up top. Houston Outlaws absolutely cannot make a single mistake here. Nobody is near their ults. Myunbong is the closest. That nano boost could change everything.
rotations around here. The team's a little bit split. Sleep Dart gets no value. Point has to be contested. It's going to be the defensive Bayonade. Now the nano boost. Axiom trying to get value. Ate up by Meko again, playing very well around his team.
Nano for Houston, and Dante will have his Blizzard.
Deadeye gets slapped in the nick of time, but hopefully will not matter for the Houston Outlaws. Muma coming up clutch. Jerry tries to go for the flank, taken out in the mix of it. And it looks like the Houston Outlaws are gonna hold on, and they are, once they clean up the stragglers, are gonna make this a draw.
That is historically not a good map for the Houston Outlaws. Has been good for Boston in the past, but that was a totally different roster. You could argue it's a totally different roster for Houston as well.
I would make that argument. I think it's a different team. They're not going to be carrying over a lot of the bad voodoo, at least you'd hope. You know.
Raucus, Overwatch World Cup champion this year as well.
Yep.
Proved that he was capable, and his Ana is good.
5, 4.
Can he make the difference here and start the comeback of a lifetime for the Houston Outlaws?
Well, it all starts here on Oasis, map 6, or map 5, I should say, in this series between the Boston Uprising and the Houston Outlaws. You can see the aggression immediately. Colhex's wall stops Meko in his tracks. He tried to retreat to the safety of his team, but wasn't quite good enough. Muma slept up as well. A dangerous position to be in. And Boston again. Great ice walls from Colhex and really opened this one up.
Yeah, and I'd say that's a theme throughout this series as well. Colorhex has been on point with the ice walls. finding those opportunities to separate Muma from the rest of his team, where he can be pinned or bionated or slept. Muma's kind of been bullied over the course of this match.
Yeah, and I do wonder as well how much of that is actually his fault, or how much of it is the Boston really playing well and pressuring him a lot. See Meko here trying to take an off angle. He wants to try and push them off the high ground if he can. A lot of damage being taken from these off angles here. Forces them down. Mumado, he's frozen up in one place. akshon has to back off as well though. He's fallen. Blase getting the better of him. Look at this Jerry. He's able to get a kill or two, but realistically, not enough. I want to say it's not enough.
It shouldn't be enough.
They're still in this fight though, but Jex is going to put an end to it, thankfully. And it is going to be Houston recapping over this first control point. And I'm glad to see it, honestly. I was a little bit worried seeing how one-sided that initial engagement was.
Yeah, Houston managed to get back into things, and they're in a good position here. This map is a lot about control of this high ground and picking the right opportunities to engage onto people as they come in. They'll be looking for akshon to extend a little bit further than the rest of his team. Dante finding a May wall again.
Speed boost off to the side. Now the Deadeye going to be used here. Jerry cancels it though, gets no value. And akshon just waiting to try and build up this Earth Shatter. Frozen, round the side, stunned up, but Blase capitalizes. 2 kills. And Houston now, they just have to clean up the rest of these players. Sweep them up.
Sweep them up, ship them out. Houston Outlaws use their speed boost and their sound barrier there from JJoNak. Very decisive and aggressive. They spot out Color Hex and akshon. And with their backs against the wall.
I mean, there was an attempt there. He got the better of Blase, to be fair, but
it doesn't matter though.
A little bit too late.
Yeah, if you're going for those kind of flanks, you're not helping the rest of your team, and Blase was just in the right place at the right time.
Another ice wall from Dante though, a little bit off to the side. Bionate doesn't get any value. JJoNak though, look at the aggression, look at the moves. Straight into the back, takes out Jerry. It's going to be a lot of damage missing. These are the kind of plays that are necessary. Earth Shatter laid down. Dante hit the deck. He's still alive though. Houston's still in control at this point.
Still in control, but with Meko down, that means that they can't establish control of the high ground too much.
Nice sleep. Open Earth Shatter here for Muma. Instead he's going to opt for the charge. Muma, where you taking him? Off into no man's land and he's pinned backwards. What have I witnessed? What am I seeing? Why? Truly living up to this battle of the ages between Boston Uprising and the Houston Outlaws.
JJonak's got 3 kills in this fight. Somehow, some way, he's dragging the Houston Outlaws single-handedly
He says,
back.
if you can't do it, I will.
And nobody was able to touch the point in the middle of all of that. I mean, I would love, Brennan, to explain to you what happened at the end of that. I think Raucus is asking the rest of his team what's happening as well.
Give us a 0.25 breakdown.
Why Muma decided to...
I don't know. He had a free shatter.
Take akshon
He had a
for
free
ride.
shatter. He was slept.
He was trying to do that stylish play where you pin all the way...
Pin him off the edge. I mean, let's look at this from JJoNak. He's like, Muma, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to kill them all anyway. Like...
Gets the 2 onto Color Hex and Mufin. Comes back around as well. He was able to finish off Raucus just after this.
I mean,
I think he got Jerry too.
I mean, this is beautiful aggression.
This is nasty. I mean, nobody else was helping him.
Yeah.
just JJoNak and Meko going on their own little frag video.
The beginning for the Houston Outlaws. If they get this map, they are staying in it. They are 1 round away. Early control of the high ground.
Fight over by the coast. Dante stunned up. Ends up getting taken out. Muma as well.
Still, Boston are getting the early lead here. JJoNak is being absolutely brutalized. Being battered on the elevator. The bounce pad, if you will. Jerry now up, looking for opportunities here. Blase takes him out of the sky like a clay pigeon.
Of course, both of these teams decide to fight on the jump pad like 2 children slapping each other on trampolines.
Still, the Houston Outlaws are, I mean, it feels like they are getting the better edge of this one, but it is tough to say. It is chaos. Chaos in the battlements.
It really is. But now Houston have finally cemented a bit of control over this high ground. Still just riding on the jump pad, I think for the fun of it at this point. Yeah. And Raucus has a Nano Boost. Nano Boost and a Deadeye coming out here. The Deadeye can force positioning, the Nano Boost plus an Ice Wall could very easily find the first pick. But they got to wait for Boston to get a little further forward.
A lot of win conditions now for Houston, but you can see Boston. They're staying out of the line of sight. They rotated the long way round.
Muma's slept.
Pushed him down to the low ground. Muma being slept could force him out here. Look at the Ice Wars. Great peel from Muffin. He's going to force him off with his boosters. Away from the high ground here. Blase just trying to build up this Deadeye now.
But the Nano Boost has already been used onto Muma just to save him, and it got no value whatsoever. And Boston have all of this space for free!
Axiom, what are you doing, pal? The Earth Shatter gets nothing. Muma frozen, out of position, but Outlaws are the ones coming out on top. Nice counterpin from Muma. And Boston Uprising, I mean, I don't really know how to read that one, but yeah, I don't think that's how you take a fight.
Axiom going for the instinctive shatter onto Dante. Thought he might be able to find a single pick there. How he thought anyone was going to be able to follow up on it, I'm not 100% sure.
Or maybe this is the nerves coming into play when you get stretched out in a series like this. It really is a battle for endurance.
It absolutely is. Map 5. And the Boston Uprising have just not been able to close it out. Here, the Houston Outlaws going aggressive again. Nice ice walls from both teams, actually. But Houston haven't been able to get too aggressive. Raucus doesn't find an opportunity to use the Nano Boost to save either Muma or Blase there. And for all the aggression came out from Houston, they found absolutely nothing from it.
Yeah, this is nicely done there by Boston. They utilizing the ultimates correctly, playing aggressively. Houston are going to be happy with this 98%, but now they have the uphill battle. Quite literally, with Boston on the high ground here. Gonna have to try and win a team fight out from under them.
Yeah, I think Houston want to rotate around the back, come in through Archway, and make a slow, steady progression onto the point. Then once Boston drop down, try and find value out of the Blizzard. So they're coming back around Archway now and coming forward slowly onto the point.
Rotating around, trying to force him down here. They do eventually drop down. Deadeye, Muma, caught out of position. Can anyone save him? Maybe the speedy cowboy off to the side, but that's Meko. The defense matrix was there. Houston Outlaws with 2 pickoffs. Axiom tries to clutch it. Earthshatter connected onto 3. Nano Boost with the fire strike allowed him to cleave down Houston. And what was supposed to be Houston's win just nipped in the bud there by Axiom.
Huge play from the brand new Reinhardt that's come out to play.
He recognized it. Muma wasn't going to be able to block it. He's swinging away. Instinctive.
Catches onto Raucus and Blase, but also Muma, so that you can go for that without any fear whatsoever. But Houston can still win this one. Muma could reply back with one just as good. And a 3-man Bionade is going to force the tank line for Boston backwards.
This is it. Boston really feeling the pressure. The
Nice shot
from Blase. Nails it out. Muffin tries to eat it up, but the defense matrix has to back off here. Shatter from Muma. Doesn't really get anything. They've recapped over the point though. The overtime now going to start burning. And here it is. Boston forced to try and take this off angle. As you can see, Jerry is trying for it. Meko on him. Taken down. A lot of damage now removed. And Meko, these off angles have been brutal for Boston. Houston Outlaws are so close to taking this map. So close to ending the unfortunate streak. Seconds away from doing it if they can pick up these rest of these players.
And Nanabusi moving into the back. Self-destruct up, but Houston Outlaws have won their first map of 2020 and they stay alive in this series.
Wow. That's a Tyson Fury fight later.
Well, here we go. Heading to Nepal. The Boston Uprising are notorious for executing reverse sweeps of their own. They've had 5 reverse sweeps, the Boston Uprising, in franchise history, which I believe is the most out of any team in the Overwatch League. And as it looks now, sure, they're not quite on the verge of it, but I can feel it. I can feel it,
Feel it in your bones.
The Houston Outlaws can feel it too. They've managed to stick in this far. If they can execute well on Nepal, they are looking good to take this series and execute a reverse sweep against the reverse sweep champions.
Ooh. Okay. Bit of a change of scenery. The Houston Outlaws going to be opting for the double main tank. The Ice Wall though, the aggression by Boston. And look at this, Dante caught out of position. So low, but appeal is there. Had to use the Immortality Field early.
Immortality Field used very early, and now when Boston Uprising gets speed boost again, they can go in super aggro.
Uh-oh, Boston are knocking at the door. It's going to be the 1-for-1 trade. It's still winnable for them, but it is chaos on the point. The backline's being assaulted. It seems like Houston are winning this one.
Where are you going?
Where are you going, Axiom?
Where are you going?
It's taking him for a swim. don't even know if there's water on the opposite side of the pole. Probably just more mountains.
Just more mountains. What is this? Both of these Reinhardts are having fun in this game. Muma and Axiom determined to outdo each other with the most ridiculous pins you've ever seen. In terms of the compositions though, Houston Outlaws playing with the Batiste for the Immortality field to buy time for Blase to generate charge and get value out of the Symmetra. The Boston Uprising just want to go as fast as possible before Blase can get any damage done.
TP down to the low ground. Boston's move to try and engage this one. Axiom is going to drop down to the low ground. Jerry frozen up. Luckily on the high ground, nobody could take him out. It's a hard point to attack.
Jerry's come around the back as well to see if he could drop into the squishies of the Houston Outlaws and get a pick, but he found absolutely nothing.
Boston have to use that ice wall defensively here. It's a very tough position to try and push into when Houston Outlaws have control of it.
And a really nice teleporter from Blase as well. It's a small teleporter, but it gets big value.
Off onto the side here now. Weapon frozen up. The pins were exchanged. Now we're going to see a lot of ultimates being used here. Huge barrier comes up, blocking off a lot of the damage, along with the Blizzard. Boston Uprising, though, not falling just yet.
Beautiful Ant Matrix as well to kind of push people away and allow Dante to get back in really quickly.
Whoa!
Really nice ice wall.
Really nice ice wall from Dante, but Boston, Ant back with one of their own. Unable to really try and get onto this point. They're going to be committing the Saebyeolbe now towards this, seeing if they can get these picks. Finally, they open up. Rorks goes down. This Meko with the supercharger, it's huge. The damage is enormous.
This could certainly still turn, but with Muma going down and then Meko falling, Blase just didn't get enough done. Supercharger plus the Symmetra just vomits out damage. Boston Uprising still have to be very careful there, even though they got a couple of picks. And I like this change from Blase. Moving over to the McCree and the Diva for Meko. Now they've got a bit of a counter composition to Boston. They can play a little bit more safe, maneuver around the map a bit. But Color X's Blizzard you would expect to find big value in the next fight.
We'll see if Meko can eat it here. Blizzard comes up, cancelled. Color X gets brought down immediately, got no value out of it. Outlaws using their Saebyeolbe to really push forward here.
Great opportunity for the Houston Outlaws. They take control of the high ground. Myeonbong falls.
Oh, they're back on the point.
There is no way that Boston can contest this. They'll have 17 seconds to try and get back onto the point. Otherwise, all is lost. Blase making the switch over to the Doomfist as well. This can be so crucial. And Blase looked so much more comfortable on the Doomfist than he does on the McCree. I love this swap.
They could be doing it here. And now they have control of the point. Boston forced to touch, forced to engage. Huge Bionate though. Next on to Blase. The rocket punch comes out. The damage is enormous. Still Boston in the fight. We see the Blizzards being exchanged. Or at least now the Morphin comes up huge. 2 kills. The Outlaws answering back with eliminations of their own. Massive Bionate from Raucus. The Uprising are falling. They're trembling.
Blase is just in the thick of this, picking people off left, right, and center. Myeonbong finds 2. Myeonbong. He does eventually go down. It's just got a fall here. Pilot moving on the point.
Comes around the corner, but that is going to be round number 1. The Outlaws. Josh, I'm lightheaded.
I'm losing my mind, Brennan.
This is phenomenal.
I don't understand what I'm witnessing. The Houston Outlaws, it's like they've evolved. They are learning to play Overwatch before our very eyes. And they are looking so much more coordinated and confident now that they've got to the portion of the match where they believe in themselves. I really think this is a huge confidence boost. We're seeing the momentum in this series completely swing the other way.
This is huge for them now. Look at this. Houston Outlaws 1 round away from taking map 6.
Surely you don't stay with Muma on the Winston. No, he does swap. Blase we're expecting to swap as well. We'll see if he stays on it. Yep, he absolutely does.
Okay.
So they've got a Symmetra strat here as well.
Both teams going to be clashing.
I think it's hard to find value out of the Symmetra on this map compared to Village. It's much larger angle.
More open.
Yeah.
It's very difficult sometimes, but we'll see. But the Outlaws have anything up their sleeves.
If they play around here on the left-hand side and then maneuver over to the point, Blase could find massive value. But look at that Bionate, Myeonbong.
That's massive. Boston, though, not really in a position to try and contest it. You can see the TP. They're teasing it. Teleporting into the backline here. All the way onto the opposite side. Muma slept up though.
Oh, and frozen! Mufin was frozen and landed into the pit. A huge first pick for Houston.
Very unfortunate. Another big bio-nade from Raucus as well. Actually forced to play a little bit more passive. It's Houston taking the first point again, and once you have control of the map like this, sinatraa becomes that much more powerful.
So powerful. You can set up these tiny little TPs to make people rotate around the map almost instantaneously. I mean, literally instantaneously. It's teleportation.
Nano boost unloaded. The ice wall has pushed Muma into the clutches of the Boston Uprising. Can he get any value out of it?
The man got absolutely bullied. Slept, frozen again, pinned, flashbang. Muma had no opportunity to get value out of that. Boston are coming straight back into this.
Now Houston are just looking to dial the point, try and take a little bit of time off of it. We'll see if Blase opts to switch. He's very close to his ultimate. He might decide to stick. No, he's going to switch it up now to the McCree, so we're going to be seeing the mirror match.
Yeah. I kind of would have liked the Doomfist again. I know that it's unconventional and nobody else in the league is running it, but for Blase specifically, he's been able to clutch a couple of times.
Dante going to be splitting them up here. Jerry uses the Deadeye though. He finds a little crevice to try and unleash it into, but now here comes the Blizzard, splitting the Boston Uprising a piece. Jerry's just there, ready and waiting. Jackson patiently waiting, very weak, has to use the amp it up, heal himself back up, gonna retreat to the rest of his team. It's been a slow siege from both of these sides. But it's go time for the Houston Outlaws. They're gonna be opting to use this sound barrier. They want to push forward. They want to try and get some value in. At least get a kill or two. They're not really finding anything. Nice ice wall from Dante once more. It's gonna be stopping the push. And that's gonna be the recap now for the Houston Outlaws.
Color Hex very low as well. Axiom falls weak. They're actually investing in sound barrier here. Axiom's very low on the point, but Muma frozen, I think, out of his shatter as well.
Mecho's self-destruct is going to be buying a bit of time here. Dante, you are in a very precarious position, Sunshine. Jerry can't be saved. He tried to duck his head around, but the headshot, Dante found it. Buying a little bit more time. Still, the Boston Uprising going to be recapping.
So even between these two teams on Sanctum, neither one can really get a foothold in the map. And Houston are going to stick on this May McCree strategy. That hasn't really worked out so great for them. Not really close to any ultimates either. I am a little worried here for the Houston Outlaws. I don't really see a way in which they get back in. Boston Uprising have got the entire ult advantage. Echo is going to have to come out with a big play, I think, and maybe eat this Blizzard. Find an early pick, perhaps, from Blase. They're rotating around the back at the moment, trying to find anybody out of position.
These players trying to rely on a lot of their mechanical skill. Houston Outlaws have control of the point. Deadeye comes out from Jerry. JJoNak! He manages to boot off Axiom, but at what cost? Trading 1-for-1. Blase! Taken out! He tried to go for the Deadeye of his own. Jerry! He can't be stopped! He's a machine! An absolute monster on the high ground. Unleashing lead. He is unbelievable.
J to the E to the double R-Y. This guy, so good. The crowd's chanting his name, and what a name it is.
Can anyone even touch this? JJoNak's going to attempt it. He had to go for the old loop-de-loop. He's so low. Dante has to switch over to the Doomfist. Instantly taken out. It's looking even more precarious now. Muma frozen in position. The nano boost not going to be getting any value. Jerry takes him out with the Deadeye. Boston Uprising in a very good position to win this one out, despite the Houston Outlaws trying to trickle onto the point. A few players left. Blase, one man against the world.
Dante looking like he's coming in for the clutch, but he's slept, he's frozen up. No opportunity for Outlaws to get back in here. And the ultimates and the way in which Boston rotated around the map proves too good.
1-1.
Boston get their first taste of victory on these final control maps. They got destroyed on Oasis. They weren't able to take a single round. Now on Nepal, confidence starting to breed again. For the team that is still in the lead, their fans, all two of them, ecstatic at this.
Well, 1-1 apiece. We're going to potentially map point now. And Houston Outlaws are clinging on to just a single thread of hope. One round is the difference here between going away with a loss or potentially extending this one out. Boston Uprising, they're going to try and close this one out for good.
Probably the most important round of this entire match. It may define the beginning of the season for the Houston Outlaws. Sleep on Meko to start up.
Reaction time to there.
Yunbong's been so good.
Meko might survive this one, but he has to force his way back using the boosters. See the positioning by Boston here. Playing very far forward. To the point. Ice off angle here by Dante, just trying to get the damage in here. The ice wall is there as well. We'll see if they can counteract it. Muma goes for the charge. Moves back. No volley for Axiom, but Muma and Axiom are going to be traded down. Both sides losing their main tanks.
Weaker players though for the Boston Uprising, and they don't have the greatest position in the world. Ice wall's already been used. Jerry is weak and bio-naded. Houston Outlaws still looking good for this, and they do take the first cap.
Yeah. Sleeps on the deck here. Color Hex. Flashbang. Slept. Taken out. Now they're going to be trying to get the stragglers. They do indeed. Nice ice wall from Dante. Yeah, slowly improving throughout the series.
I like this from Houston as well. They do punish the stragglers at the end of these team fights and just extend things out a little bit. 20% already, and Boston haven't been able to get a foothold in just yet. They got snarled up a lot when they came around the left-hand side, but they're going to do it again. They're playing into a blizzard, playing into a sound barrier. We might see Houston just go really aggressive to find Muffin's defense matrix offline.
Boston just forcing Meko away. Can't let him get free value, but there we have it, the blizzard by Dante. Doesn't connect onto anyone. Boston, they disengage. Axiom actually got caught out by the freeze. Now Blase is going to be using the Deadeye. He wants to force them back. A defensive ice wall. Soundbarrier going to be used in response here by Boston. But it only gets them onto the point. Muma chunked down and out. Soundbarrier their own. Blase found the hammer. That's that gold strategy. It doesn't matter if it's gold, plat or silver. It still works in the end. Boston, though, finding openings. They capitalize, jumping onto the back line, but it looks like Houston have gained control. So you can pick up a couple of these players, and Houston are moments away from really extending this series out.
25% of the Boston Uprising don't really have many tools to work with whatsoever. Houston are in a fantastic position. For the Boston fans, you're hoping that Axiom hits a ridiculous shatter, or maybe you get an easy entry. A D-Mech onto Meko perhaps, who's just scouting them all the way up at the top here.
Meko trying to boot them away.
They back off. Both Reinhardts with the shadow. Could be pivotal.
Jumping on these off angles. Now you see Jerry using the Deadeye. They're waiting for the wall to fall. The overtime wick is burning. The shadow from Axiom. Rogers broke down. Momo to counter the shadow. He's going to take down Muffin. D-Mech in the end. Anyone's game. Blase wants to nip it in the bud. He wants it to go to map 7. Taken out by Color Hex though. Boston are not going to go down that easily. They are struggling to keep into this fight. But it is a brutal one at that swimmer. Dragging his team, kicking and screaming. Mover in the back line.
Are they really going to be able to turn this? Surely not.
Know.
But those kills, the back line of the Boston Uprising being dead, it's brutal for them. As soon as Houston get an opportunity to come in, all of this damage is permanent.
The fight continues. Dante goes for it. Doesn't get eaten up. That could be the game-winning moment. Blase's back in the back line. He's on the Doomfist, taken out. Jerry is caught out of position. The Ice Wall force, Banana Boost has to keep him alive. But this could be it, Josh. Only a few moments now. Jerry taken down. Houston Outlaws just need those few crucial moments. Is anyone able to touch? Color Hex just about manages it. Axiom looks like he's given up. And that is going to be it. Map 7. Houston Outlaws, they drag it to the bitter end.
Single one of them. So far, when we've hit Oasis, then Nepal, it's been the Outlaws almost completely in control. We've talked a lot about the rookies for the Boston Uprising and how this is mentally going to affect them.
Yeah.
What a match to get reverse swept on. This is, I think, the most spectacular reverse sweep that I've ever seen in the Overwatch League if Houston actually pull it out.
Yeah.
That's got to rattle you if you're Jerry, if you're Muffin. You're coming out, you're playing your first game and this happens? They can't let it occur.
We'll find out just how far it truly goes. Will we witness history today, or will it be stopped in its tracks? Map 7 of the Boston Uprising versus the Houston Outlaws begins now.
The sinatraa used to take very early control. Houston Outlaws playing hyper-aggressively, getting involved really early on.
Both walls.
Getting damage up.
Both walls not really getting too much value. You can see the teleporter being slammed into the backline. The aggression being used here. Now the immortality field destroyed. Not quite yet. Muma frozen up though. So loads being taken down. And akshon is eventually going to get the better of him. Boston are going to try and push through here past the turrets. They do indeed do that. Amplification Matrix comes into the backline. It's not good enough. The Boston Uprising slam forward.
They take control of that. Nice measured play from Boston. They didn't try and fight the Houston Outlaws on even terms right at the beginning. You couldn't possibly, because Houston was so fast coming out of the spawn with their teleporter and with their speed boost. And now Houston have been forced to make swaps. The McCree comes back out for Blase, the Diva for Meko. Boston are so far ahead in terms of the ult game. Yunbong has his nano boost, Repel's only just swapped onto the Ana.
We'll see how the Houston Outlaws opt to take this fight now. Their ideal scenario is to make Boston use a couple of these ultimates now. They can get a pick off, that will do it. akshon, the Shadowcut's laid down. Nano boost laid up, that's so much damage. 2 kills for him, make it 3.
You're not escaping, Dante.
Stylish.
And Houston still behind in the ult game, even after that fight loss just then. It's not looking like a good start to this final map for the Houston Outlaws, but you can always get back into it. They know that, they've lived that.
Yeah, they absolutely have. You can see now Colorhex, look at the position he's in. He wants to try and get a nice ice wall off, but the rotation is called.
Yeah, the Houston Outlaws evaded them. They're coming over bridge instead.
A little bit of a fake out, but the ice wall, not enough as a gap. Just enough for the Outlaws to try and squeeze their way into. Jerry now using the Deadeye. He's going to force the positioning on. You can see Open tries to force the positioning with his boosters. Doesn't get it off. Now both teams have a Blizzard available to them. And see how they try and utilize it. Ice will come south. Dante going to be opting for the better one. Freezes absolutely everyone. Beko eats their own. Beautiful work for the Outlaws. Muma is the one to clean up a lot of the eliminations.
Fantastic play.
Able to recap.
Fantastic play by Meko. We haven't seen that
Really
kind of
good
stuff from him that much over the course of this series. Hasn't made that many game-altering plays, but that one is completely game-altering. Eats up the Blizzard coming out from Color Hex, and Houston Outlaws are now in control of the fight. They absolutely had to win that fight.
Dante trying to get a bit of spam damage in off the side on the flank. Boston look like they're opting to try and take this over the bridge to self-destruct. The ice wall's going to be used defensively onto both sides, trying to catch these players out of position to charge from Muma. That's aggressive, and that is what you want to see if you're a Houston fan. Blase with a Halber Repel. The Deadeye is going to win them this fight.
Are just way too obvious, I feel. If they come in over the bridge there, the Houston Outlaws still have their speed boost. You haven't forced out any cooldowns. They just retreat, play behind shield and the ice wall. Look at this Deadeye though, coming out from Blase. He hides, avoids the self-destruct, and then finds a perfect opportunity with Dante's ice wall.
Very off the side, and it was a fantastic Bionate from Repel as well.
Now in the meantime, this fight has already begun.
Still kicking off at the point. You can see both the teams, the charges, going to be exchanged. They're both on the deck. Meko's self-destruct. It comes up clutch. 2 kills, but is it going to be enough? Boston are easily answering back. Jerry, there's no one to take care of him. The high noon. And Boston Uprising off the back of that. Houston thought it was in the bag, but I don't think anybody's going to be able to touch this one. It looks like Meko will be able to.
He just about squeaks in there. They've got the potential to be able to clutch this. The sleep. Muma's coming back and he'll have an Earth Shadow. Blase can get kills.
The ice wall. It's cheeky. Going to get back into the fight. Still doable for them. The Blizzard now by Dante, but against 8. Muffin with a clutch play. akshon charging in the midst of it. And it's not going to get the value he's looking for. The Boston Uprising going to take round number 1 in map 7.
And Mufin feels the energy. He's not going to allow him and the rest of the Boston Uprising to get reverse swept without a fight. They take the all-important first round on Lijiang Tower. And this rookie player is not missing any confidence on the main stage. Nerves, perhaps, but confidence to overcome it.
I don't know about you, Josh, but This series has shaved off about 10 years of my lifespan.
I know what you mean there.
They're making me work for it, but I'm okay with it.
If you get entertaining Overwatch like this, it's all worth it in the end.
It's a brawl.
Lijiang Tower, though, is where this series is going to end. There's no ifs or buts about it. And so far, Boston Uprising in the lead. A lot comes down to this initial fight. Early TP, onto the point. Houston Outlaws establishing point presence.
I've done this a couple of times with these symmetric strategies. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
But this time, Meko is on the Diva instead of on the Orisa. So they're going for the normal strategy, but with Blase on the Sim. I like it.
They're catching a couple of players out. The damage is overwhelming here. Blase just having to back off here. Muffin gets demeched. That's beautiful for them. No one's going to be able to eat up a lot of these orbs coming in.
I like this adaptation from Houston. No longer running with the Batiste, no longer running with the Orisa. That means that even if they had lost that fight, they would continue to accrue the Nano Boost charge and the self-destruct as well. And Houston have looked pretty good so far. Blase can get more value out when he's playing the Symmetra. It seems to be more comfortable for him. And these small TPs, very valuable.
Nano Boost available from Yongbong. It looks like Axiom is the target, and that's it. He steps in, throws it up, the Fire Strike really deals a lot of damage. And that kind of aggression is what you want to see. Okay, bye-bye.
Swimmer cleans it all up with the 3K. Dante managed to avoid the initial boop that would have put him in the highlight reel, but he gets finished off anyway by the rookie Lucio.
Nicely done, nice little combo.
And Blase's made the swap back over to McCree. This is just their answer if the Symmetra strat doesn't work out.
Muma slept. Oh no! No, 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 no! That's not what you want to see at all. Could not defend against the Deadeye.
And a beautiful little play from Yunbong. Knows that they have to drop the shield just as they fall down from the high ground. Times it perfectly to sleep Muma and set up for a very easy pick for his McCree. Houston Outlaws are now even and starting to get further and further behind. They go for the long rotate around the back. Boston Uprising read it. Oh, but it's a fake out.
It's a fake around. They caught him out of position. Robin caught. Not teammate just yet, but finally taken out. And we see now the Blizzard going to be used by Colorhex. But Dante comes in with one of his own. Great opportunity for Houston to try and capitalize. Axiom bionated up. No more heals for you, sir. And this is going to be the Outlaws able to clinch this one out and retake this point.
Beautiful little fake out right at the beginning. That set everything up. The Houston Outlaws look like they're going all the way around the back to the coast. And instead, take just a moment and then speed boosting engage through the front, walling off Mufin for that first easy kill, or first easy D-Mech rather, that allows Dante to get a free Blizzard. The neurons are firing faster than ever before for the Houston Outlaws.
They're trying to do it right now. You see, overlapping the support of the Nano Boost and the sound barrier. A couple of them slept on the deck. Self-destruct in the back is going to get no value. This time you see Outlaws using their own. Axiom so low. Trying to hide around the statue. And he's opening up for Muma to hit a very large Earth Shatter. 70% and counting now for the Houston Outlaws.
And they're in a great position to tie up Lijiang, send us to the final round of the final map of this series. But they need to hold on for one more team fight. They have the Nano Boost to be able to work with. It could be enough.
Look at Dante, look at Dante.
He's looking for an early May wall.
I wonder if they're going to spot him. He has to back off here. Booped off. Jerry with the Deadeye. They need to eat this one up. It's going to be critical. The pin! Muma taken out. Dante has to use his Ice Wall defensively. Now the Outlaws playing back onto the point. Jerry finding the shots. He's heating up. He's feeling himself. JJoNak so lost.
And we're now in one fight territory, essentially. If the Boston Uprising are able to take this, they will have fended off the Houston Outlaws. And they'll lock it up on the final map of Lijiang. A Blizzard is going to be available for both teams. Clutch potential for Axiom as well with the Earth Shatter. Houston are in a rough position. Another amazing fake out with a May wall could be beautiful, but can you really run the same strat twice?
Earth Shatter used, connects onto the backline. Boston, the aggression is there. Gonna be answering for Blizzard as well. And that kind of speed, that kind of aggression has just caught them off guard. 5 seconds remaining. Can anyone from the Outlaws touch this one?
JJoNak is in position. He's going to be able to get the touch. He forces out the overtime, but everybody else from Houston is so far away. The boom coming out from Swimmer as
no
well.
one's there. The Boston Uprising win it out in map 7, stealing away the hopes and dreams of the Houston Outlaws.